We're now at cruising speed, doing about 80 kilometers per hour. This is a realistic speed for a truck which is driven on the continent. Remember, at this point, you should not press up the speed further to 90 to 95 kilometers as you burn up a lot of unnecessary fuel. Use the output on the inclines instead. We're now coming to an incline and would think that a half-gear step should be suitable here. Pre-select. D-clutch. Sixth low. Exactly what we needed. Later, when we have the crown of the hill in view, never be afraid to use the torque curve. There is, in fact, a fantastic lugging power in these machines. Now we're coming to a much steeper hill. Here we know already from the beginning that we must change down at least twice. We'll try, therefore, to keep in the upper part of the green sector to begin with. Now comes the change down. 1200 revs complete gear step. I'm slightly over the green sector after the change down. But as we can feel, the going is tough now. On such an occasion, it's useless to try using half gear steps. We allow the engine to work its way down a little further. New gear change. Once again, 1150 to 1200 revs. Complete step again. Land on the edge of the green sector. We now feel that the truck will accelerate, but the power is not sufficient to be able to change up. So you should ease up and remain in the green sector. You gain a few seconds by over-revving just now, but you have plenty of reserve power. Here we can feel that it's beginning to ease. We prepare for a half gear change up, pre-select, accelerate, D-clutch. Our half gear is engaged. Here the splitter gear is used to full advantage. Prepare for a further half step. And complete the change. The steep hill we've just taken. If it had been a little slippery with ice or snow, then there's no doubt we would have had to use the differential lock. Ah, I can hear somebody say, but what about the bogie lift? Isn't it just as good? Yes, of course. In certain circumstances, you can use the bogie lift to help you over slippery surfaces. But use it wisely. Normally, it's used when the truck is empty. We're almost at the crown of the hill now, and this is a good place to start saving fuel. We ease off the accelerator, letting the load build up our speed again. And now there is a further build-up. It's time for a change down. The exhaust brake, don't forget it. The control is at your left foot. And now we'll save brake linings. For efficient exhaust braking, you must definitely exceed the green sector. Allow the speed to go a little over 2,000 revs, and then apply some supplementary braking. And when you do this, you should do it well and truly, releasing the pedal between times to give the brake a chance to cool off. Well, we're at the bottom of the hill with the brake still working. If there'd been a second incline immediately after this downhill run, we would of course have tried to use our energy of movement to take us up the next climb. on condition that we did not exceed the speed limit. And this is another way of saving fuel. The first thing we do on stopping is to apply the parking brake. As you'll notice, the engine noise alters as we apply the parking brake. That's because the exhaust pressure governor comes into action. It consists of an air-operated valve which partly restricts the exhaust pipe. This builds up back pressure in the system, maintaining engine temperature and making sure that the exhaust gases keep clean. Before switching off the engine, we let it idle a few minutes. This is to cool it down, thereby avoiding the effects of thermal stress on the engine. While the engine is cooling, we can have a look at the electrical distribution center. It contains the fuses and relays. Some of the relays are interchangeable. The operator's manual will tell you which ones. Over there on the right are some of the other electrical components. Now let's take a look at some of the fixtures and fittings fitted here under the grille. This is the clutch fluid reservoir. Here's the dryer for the air conditioning. Should anything go wrong with it, you need the assistance of a Volvo workshop. Here's the filter which cleans the air entering the cab. It should be changed once a year, and it can happen that if you drive in dusty conditions or during a heavy snowfall, you must remove the filter and shake it. And by the way, you must never cover the radiator. If you did, we would disturb the function of the intercooler and the cooling fan would be operating continuously. And now we'll tilt up the cab. But before doing so, remember that the parking brake must be applied. The doors, either fully open or closed, the gear lever in neutral, and the front hatch must always be open. The air dryer for the braking system is here beside the bumper. You should change the insert once per year, preferably each autumn. Up here is the oil reservoir for the power steering system. Here's the injection pump. Should you, for any reason, run out of fuel, the operator's manual gives you full instructions on how to bleed the system. To obtain effective and economical driving on a flat road, allow the engine to run in the green sector. On reaching a slight incline, where you use the torque, ease off with the accelerator on the crown of the hill. Allow the truck to roll and pick up speed for the next hill. Press down on the accelerator using the power output on the first part of the hill. Roll over the crown, allowing the load to give you new momentum up to the next hill. In this way, you attain a high average speed and low fuel consumption. And if you have a hydraulic retarder in your truck, it's time to use it here. You must also remember to keep an eye on the temperature gauge. The brake energy created by 275 horsepower is converted to heat, and this is taken care of by the engine cooling system. After the day's run, there are a couple of important things you must remember. Fill up with fuel at night, and you'll avoid condensation forming in the tank. In cold conditions, it's important that you drain the air tanks. And this also applies even if the truck is fitted with an air dryer. If your truck is not fitted with an air dryer, make sure that the alcohol reservoir is well topped up to avoid icing in the braking system. When you park at the end of your shift and are not going to use an overnight heater, switch off the battery main switch. And now, look at the emergency warning equipment. Here we have 2 warning triangles and some warning flares. Just remember to place them sufficiently far from the vehicle so as to give ample warning should you ever need to use them. Other items of safety equipment include a first aid kit inside this cushion. Each kit contains a description on how to use it. Here we have the fire extinguisher, which you remove from its holder like this. And here are the instructions on how to use it. The pointer here tells us everything is okay. It must always stay within the green sector. Finally, let's take a look at the vehicle's literature. It consists of the warranty and service booklet, a document of value. Among other things, it includes your vehicle data card, which is important to have if you need to use the services of a Volvo workshop when away from home. The service guide is handy when you need to get in touch with Volvo dealers at home or abroad. It contains their phone numbers, their addresses, and a description of how to get there. The operator's manual is a mine of information. Use it every time there's something you wonder about. And that brings us to the end of this run-through. All of us at Volvo wish you every success with your new truck.